it's been 2 months that we planted some veggies. It's raining here. There's some red beautiful tomatoes which I can see which is ready to be harvested. Let's have a look. Hey guys, hope you are all doing great. I'm a little extra happy because the moon farming worked and also the no dig farming worked because it was a competition. The tomatoes came into my part of the land first. So as I said, Bharat Bhai had little to no faith in the technique which I was trying out because he thought how can things grow out of cardboard and no tilling. It was something very unusual for him. So I feel that way it has also shown how this technique has worked for us. I would say I was happy and dancing because everything is done by the earth herself, and it was so beautiful to just be a witness of the entire process, to just realize it's so easy, it's so simple, and we just need to learn to be with the earth. So that was one of my major learnings. I would love to share my experience with both the techniques. Traditional farming, again, so we immediately had some vegetables growing out of our land where we did traditional farming. I would point out some differences. So first point being compost. No dig method could be expensive in the sense that it needs a lot of compost. So if you are not in an area where you are able to easily convert your waste, then it could be challenging. Where I live right now, we have compost toilets, so there is compost coming out of our human waste. And then secondly, we have compost coming out of a vegetable waste. And third is the compost as seen in the last video which we created with organic matter, leaves and cow dung. And the third one is what we used, and it was a rich beautiful compost. I would, say it as black gold. And it worked wonderfully for us. And so these costs get cut down in the traditional farming technique because the input of compost is comparatively lesser. But I have seen that we need to attend to it more. There is more maintenance. We need to, once in a week, remove the weeds or put some compost. So the maintenance is more in the traditional farming technique. And for a lazy farmer like me, no-dig method works because I didn't remove any weeds. And neither I was bothered by much of the pest attacks. In no-dig method, all the seeds and plants can be planted more closely, whereas in traditional farming technique we need to space them out more. So in a given area we can have more seeds and plants in no-dig method compared to the traditional tilling method. Third point, if you live in an area where there are a lot of rats or rabbits, then again a raised bed works better than planting your veggies on ground. Said that it was not just us who ate the vegetables, because we recently had elephants and it just walked over the land where we had done our traditional farming. So we lost some of our veggies there. And then we have these peacocks coming and sitting in the roof. The moment me and Argi enter inside the cottage, the peacocks climb up the roof, and they love beans, they love cabbage, so they have pretty much eaten up all our leaves. Still there is a lot to learn and a long way to go where we can say that the entire produce comes out of the jungle for the kitchen. Figuring out permaculture on my own, understanding the basic principles and understanding how the animals and birds and insects and worms and weeds can coexist with humanity, where there is enough for everyone, where there is enough food and space for everyone.
Warmer, all the flowers are starting to bloom. Sit back and watch the rising moon. Feel the heat of its light. Sooner knew you would walk.
I am learning to live again, adjusting to the land, crops and climate. Seeing the land as a nurturer, the one who feeds and sustains us. Unlearning that money and societal status are the most valuable things in life, and that our land is about ownership, property, or merely wealth. Gaining an ability to feel and live our true nature. To feel again, we don't have to learn something new. We just have to remember. And to remember, we need to stand on the land and start with simple questions like what I need to eat today. A simple step like knowing our food and how it affects the world could bring about a powerful change. Let's have a look at our global land use for food production. As we all know, our Earth's surface is made up of 71% of ocean and 29% of land. Out of this land, 71% is the habitable land, whereas the rest is formed by barren land and glaciers. From this habitable land, almost 50% is reserved for agriculture, whereas the forest forms say around 37% of habitable land. Our agriculture land is further divided into livestock, which is meat and dairy productions, and the crops. As shown here, livestock takes up nearly 80% of global agricultural land, yet produces less than 20% of world's supply of calories. This means that what we eat is more important than how much we eat in determining the amount of land required to produce our food. As we get richer, our diets tend to diversify and per capita meat consumption rises. Economic development unfortunately exerts an increasing impact on land resources. This raises an interesting question. If we were to reach a level of sustainable dietary equitability at a global level, what would our diet look like? If the world were to adopt dietary patterns of countries like US, Australia or Brazil, it would not be feasible even if we converted all the habitable land to agriculture. If we were to achieve equitable diets using less land use, then the world would have to converge towards the dietary patterns of countries across South Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa and some Latin American countries. A vegan diet contributes to lowest production of greenhouse gases, and a Mediterranean diet ranks as best for overall diet with a longer lifespan. If we are to allow room for everyone in this world to attain diverse nutritious diet while also reducing the agricultural pressures, arguably the highest impact change we can make to our diets is to reduce our meat intake, particularly that of beef or mutton. As the land requirements of beef and mutton can be a magnitude higher per gram of protein comparatively. Therefore, even substituting beef with a chicken or fish would reduce your land footprints to about 10 to 15 folds. It's clear that high-income countries need huge shifts at national level to adjust their average diets in order to reduce the relative impact. Sustainable agriculture, reducing meat consumption, and restoring grasslands and deforested land, and minimizing the use and impact of fertilizers can certainly help us fight climate change through our food system.
If rivers can reshape mountains, then I know I can move you closer. Colder, your back is to me, just turn around. Yeah, now you're getting